It is a Saturday night. It's Saturday night. The rest of them, they're out there. They're going to go party. They're going to go drink. They're going to go get lit and spit game. You know what I say? Let them. Let them. Because I'll be right here in the lab making tier lists. My energy is through the roof right now. And you know what that means? It's time to energize you guys with some safe driving habits. Today we're talking about signs that you are an overconfident driver. A lot of you guys out there are just straight up way too confident. And when you are overconfident on the roads, that puts you at risk of crashing, okay? Being confident as a driver, great, fantastic. We all love to see it. But being overconfident actively poses a risk to you and other drivers. And the worst part is you won't realize that you're an overconfident driver until it's too late. Let's get into the video. First up, we have tailgating. Now, tailgating is not only super annoying to the person in front of you, but is also clearly a sign that you are an overconfident driver. Because when you essentially like ride someone's bumper going, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, it's obvious that you have way too much faith in your reaction times and you don't understand the many reasons someone will need to brake ahead of you. I get maybe the person in front of you is going slow, it's annoying, whatever, but you're clearly overconfident if you're doing this. Because at any moment, the driver in front of you could have to brake, whether it's intentional because they're brake checking you, or if they're just braking because of something that's actually on the road, and your reaction time will not be good enough. It will not. So clearly, if you're constantly tailgating, it is definitely in the danger zone. You need to settle down immediately. Next up, we have deflecting accountability on near misses. Now, what a near miss I essentially mean here is anytime an accident almost happens, but not quite. And when that happens, if your first reaction is to deflect accountability and blame and yell at the other person, that is a sign you're an overconfident driver. Because in your mind, when you instantly blame the other person, whether it was mostly your fault or mostly not, essentially the mindset you have is that you are a perfect, flawless driver that just can do no wrong. So obviously, if a crash almost happened, it's the other person's fault. But if you almost get into an accident, and then even if it's not primarily your fault or at all your fault, you instantly say like, okay, glad I avoided that. What can I do next time to make sure that doesn't happen? That is a sign that you are humbled, okay? That you're not an overconfident, cocky driver. A lot of people love to point fingers even when it's mostly their fault. They'll clearly cut someone off and then they'll be like, oh, they're going too fast or whatever. I get it, it's human instinct, but it's clearly a sign that you are way too overconfident. And if you don't learn from your mistakes in these near accidents, I think a crash is inevitable. Next up, we have cutting up lanes in traffic. Now, this is essentially where you're constantly merging to get ahead of cars in a 2-lane or 3-lane road, right? Or on the highway. Now, the act of it itself isn't that bad if you know you have space and if you're signaling, but usually this is a gateway. So when you get comfortable with just kind of cutting up lanes constantly, you'll slowly get more reckless with it. And then eventually you'll get into swimming territory, which is essentially just weaving through lanes at high speeds, like you see all those YouTubers do. There's definitely levels to this, but simply the act of just constantly switching lanes, I would say calm down. Next up, we have road rage in general. Now, I've talked about many reasons why road rage is bad, but this is an angle I have not come at it yet, and this is overconfidence. When someone makes a mistake, cuts you off, turns in front of you, doesn't see you, whatever, right? And there's no accident, it's just, a mistake, everything's fine. When you road rage at them, you are essentially putting yourself in this holier than thou position. You're kind of like almost scoffing at them like a queen is scoffing at a peasant, like, oh, can't believe you made that mistake. I would never do that, even though you as a driver probably make mistakes too. So let's say someone cuts you off and you just lay on the horn. That is not safety. That is not teaching them a lesson. That is your ego and your overconfidence talking because you think you're better than them. You are not. Sit down, okay? How would you like it if every single mistake you made, no one had grace and people just laid on the horn and got pressed at you? Yes, the horn has applications, but road rage is a completely different thing than just using your horn. That is clearly a sign you are overconfident. Danger zone for sure. Calm down. Sorry to interrupt, guys. If you want the best smelling air freshener in the world, Jimmy Sheets is almost sold out. This is pretty much all I have left is what's in my hand. So get them now. Link in description, QR code here. Back to the video. Next up, we have not checking your mirrors or shoulder checking. This is extremely simple. A lot of people just merge off vibes and, goodwill. Like it's completely dumb. Please shoulder check. Please use your mirrors. Please always know what's around you. If you don't do this, a crash is inevitable. Next up, we have one-handed driving. I'm going to put this in not a big deal. Manual transmissions exist. Cup holders exist. Clearly, we're not meant to always have our two hands 10 and 2 glued to the wheel. Now you're saying, oh, it has the most control. Yes, if you're in bad weather, sure. If you're on the highway, maybe. But you should never really be going that fast where you need that F1 level stance. And I think for most of the time, one-handed driving is perfectly fine. Now, if in your other hand is your phone, not so great, but one-handed driving, no issue here in my opinion. Next up, we have not adhering to the limit all the time. I'm also going to put this in not a big deal. Sometimes it just makes the most sense to break the limit a bit. There are going to be times where you're going to need to push it, to merge, to avoid an accident, or just to follow the flow without constantly watching your speed limit like a hawk. Do not worry about sticking on the limit at all the time. If you're just going with more vibes and keeping a general idea of the speed limit, I think that's the best spot to be. People are going to disagree with me. That's my stance. I'll also say as an aside, there's certain places that you should just always stay on the limit. Tight residential areas, school zones, etc. But in big open artery roads, highways, I think it's perfectly fine to push it. And I think it's a sign that you are appropriately confident as a driver. Next up, we have not wearing a seatbelt when you're driving. Now, I used to have a different opinion on this. I used to think, oh, always wear your seatbelt. Why not? To the grocery store, or across the block, whatever. Just always put on your seatbelt. Then I realized the truth. I woke up. When you don't wear your seatbelt, it actually signals a good level of confidence. Signals that you are a true man who understands his own capability. That is one of the best things you can do for yourself. If you as a man rely on a gray leather strap to keep you safe rather than your own intuition, you are an idiot. And the woman, they can smell this, okay? You're with your girl. You could have the height of Tom Brady. You know, you could look like Leonardo DiCaprio. You could have the confidence and swagger of Jimmy Drives. But if I pull up on you and your girl in my Miata with no little device to unbuckle, I just get out of the car. Your girl, mine now. Ugh. You see how dumb you guys look? That's what you sound like when you say, oh, I don't wear a seatbelt. I'm too cool for a seatbelt. You are an idiot. I cannot believe you guys still think that there's like some sort of status or hierarchy when it comes to not wearing a seatbelt. Like, oh, you're so tough, man. You don't wear your seatbelt. Like, you're so cool. It's stupid, okay? It is absolutely stupid. Just from that level of overconfidence, I'm putting you in crash inevitable. You are dumb if you believe this. Next up, we have passing on blind corners or when it's not safe to do so. Obviously, you guys know where this is going to go. Crash inevitable. In fact, I'm going to put it right at the top. You will crash if you keep doing this. I've seen so many people who drive like they just have like some telepathy, like they know exactly what's on the other side of a corner and then they just go for that pass. I don't think there's many things on the road that you could do that are stupider. Like, it's all fun and games until you hit someone and both of you die. Like, that's the outcome of passing on a blind corner. And sadly, you let your ego and your impatience get to you, and people do this, and the results will be fatal. Pass on the other side of the road when it's legal and safe to do so. End of story. Next up, we have driving way past the speed limits because you know the roads. Now, you may know the roads. You may know which turns to slow down on, what upcoming sharp turns or whatever, right? But what you don't know is what is currently on those roads. So when you are just absolutely hauling ass on a certain road because you know it, the fact that you haven't crashed is not a testament of your driving skill, is a testament of luck. Because yes, you may be able to hit the turns correctly, you know, you may be able to take the sharp corners hard, whatever. But if you're doing this going like way beyond the limit, it's only a matter of time before you hit a deer, you hit a pedestrian, you hit another car, whatever. Not to overcrowd this tier, but this is clearly a sign that a crash is inevitable. Next up, we have blindly trusting a car's safety tech. So this one's not too big of a deal, but essentially, you know, like never checking your blind spots if you have like blind spot monitoring. That's the main example I can think of, or kind of relaxing because you have forward collision warning or whatever. If you just have an over reliance on the safety tech in general, yes, it's hugely helpful. Forward collision warning is excellent. Blind spot monitors are perfectly accurate. But this may cause you to kind of remove yourself from the road experience because you trust in it so much. This is definitely a slight sign that you are overconfident. Constantly flooring it everywhere. I'm going to put this in slight sign as well. Just on the merit that, you know, there's nothing too bad with this. It's more the speed that kills, not the, you know, direct acceleration. And then when you look at somewhere like a highway on-ramp where you actually should be flooring it or getting up to speed as quickly as possible, it's actually a good thing. So yes, if you're constantly flooring it off the stoplight at like every little minor intersection, it may be a slight sign that you're an overconfident driver, but nothing too big. Finally, we have getting comfortable with your phone. I'm going to put this in danger zone. Now, by getting comfortable, I mean starting to check it at stoplights because that is the entry level into phone usage. And when you start checking at stoplights, you're going to start checking it when you're rolling, going slow in traffic. And then you're going to start checking it when you're kind of just going down, you know, a 50 kilometer per hour road. Then you're going to start checking it on high speed highways. And then one day you are going to crash. So the moment you start to get comfortable with using your phone on the road is the moment that you enter into this risk zone. I swear you are not that important, okay? You're not taking business calls. You're just checking Snapchat, or you're like a mom going to Pilates, texting your friends about meeting for coffee after. Just, you are not important enough to be risking other people's lives by using your phone on the roads, okay? You're not important enough. End of story. Definitely danger zone. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe, okay? Check out Jimmy's sheets down below. I'll see you in the next one.